All right, there's the materials. And the stitches we'll be using is a back stitch and a whip stitch. They're both pretty simple. Here's a few pictures of them, but I also have videos to go through. The first one we'll go through is the back stitch, and I'm using a much bigger thread and much bigger stitches than you probably should for your jeans, just so you guys can see it. But what you'll do is insert your needle from a back to the front and then just make one stitch. This is your starting stitch. And then that same distance you've made your stitch, you want to do away from that stitch, if that makes sense. And then you'll be working backwards. So you can see I go back to that original stitch. And then come back underneath that same distance. And then back to that other stitch. Just creating a line. And I think it goes again. And then I think I have how to tie it from the back too. Oh wait, I'll start over a little bit. Okay, there's the stitch. And then once you flip it over, you just want to insert your needle under any stitch and then create a loop. And then inside that loop, you'll want to stick your needle in just to create that little knot. You can do it 1 or 2 times, it doesn't really matter. And that is the back stitch. And then we will go on to the whip stitch. And this you use on the edge of a fabric. You'll be using this, you'll cut your hem and then you'll use that on the edge of the hem just to prevent it from fraying. So you want to insert from the back to the front and just, you'll be making little loops along the edge. And you can pull it super tight if you want to, or keep it loose. It doesn't matter really. And the back to front. And then you just repeat that along the edge. And then you can see there's 2 pieces of fabric there. That will be like your hem. All right, and a few things before you start to hem your pants. You want to make sure to wash them and dry them before you start cutting and pinning because they could shrink. You want to make sure to put your pants or skirt or dress, whatever you're working on, you want to try it on and pin exactly where you want that hem to be. And carefully take whatever clothing you're working on, take it off and make sure the pin stays in. I think that one doubled. All right, so here is a video of how to hem your pants. It's kind of long, so I'll just talk through it. Like I said before, you want to try on your pants and go ahead and pin them. If you're using like jeans or pants, you can fold them. Otherwise, you can just insert a pin exactly where you want that to go. You'll be moving this pin later, so it doesn't really matter. Either method works, whatever's easiest for you. Oops. Here you can see I did both ways. And that first time I put it up too high, you want to make sure it's right on that edge. And then here, you want to measure that end part of your hem. That it's usually about 1/2 inch. Here on my pants, it was 1/2 inch. So you want to measure that first. And then with that measurement, you want to double it. And then from that original pin, you want to measure. So since mine was 1/2 inch, I doubled it. And then that was a whole inch. So from that original pin, you want to add that 1 inch and stick another pin there. This is just because we're keeping that original hem. So you want to add that in to your measurements, if that makes sense. You can see I'm measuring that edge, which was 1/2 inch. Then I doubled it, and that was 1 inch. And then I reinserted another pin. And that original pin you'll be taking out and won't be using that. Just make sure it's the correct length. Then from here, you'll be flipping your pants inside out. And you want that edge to be touching that new pin. And then from that edge, you want to measure, I think here it was about 2 inches, 2 or 3 inches for my pants. You want to make sure that's the same all the way around, just so it's straight. And then make sure you pin it. I pinned it pretty close to that thick part. I would suggest pinning it further down because you'll be sewing right there. So just so they're out of your way. And then pin the back side as well. And then right here, you want to make sure those, oops, someone is in the weight room. I don't know if I can accept them.
Yep, I gave you host privileges just
Okay.
in case. So it's not
Let's
showing up
see.
to me anymore. Sorry.
I don't know where it went.
Just go to the participants tab, pull it up, and then.
Okay, I think they are in.
Perfect.
Okay.
Sorry.
And then, oh, you want to make sure those, the edge of your pants, like the side seam is measured up with that other part of your jean. You just want to make sure it's in a line and straight. Otherwise, it will be crooked. And again, make sure you measure that. I think it was 2 inches. You want to make sure it's 2 inches long. And then make sure you put pins on those edges just to secure them, keep them straight. All right, and here we will start our first stitch. We'll be using the back stitch. I started on the edge of that seam. You don't have to, it doesn't really matter where you start. That seam is sometimes pretty thick to get through with your needle. I kind of struggled with it in this video, if you can see it. So you want to insert your needle, make sure there's a knot at the end of your thread. And then we'll be working the back stitch right along that edge of the jean. It's called the ditch, that like little tiny piece. So you want to insert it. And then again, you want to keep that about the same distance. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then working backwards, coming up from the bottom and then working back. You want to stay pretty close to that original thick seam because that will be how to keep a straight line and will be your new bottom of your jean, if you can see that there. And just continue that all the way around your jean. It's pretty easy once you start getting the hang of it. And you can see I moved the pins down a little bit because they were poking my hands. And then if you run out of thread, because it's hard to work with a very long piece of thread, I usually just measure about the length of my arm. But if you run out of thread, here, I will show you. So you want to insert your needle so you're working on the inside of your jean. And then in that video previously where I showed you how to go through the stitches, just repeating the same process. You'll be making a loop and then tying a little knot through there. You can do it 1 or 2 times and then you'll just be cutting the thread. And then you just repeat the process where you stopped, just continuing on with that same back stitch. And if anyone has any questions, just shout out or add it to the chat. Or if I need to slow down, just let me know.
Well, I'm really intrigued by the fact that we haven't cut anything yet. And
Yes,
so
you don't cut until the end.
Okay.
I will show you. And you will be keeping that original hem, so it looks like just a normal pair of jeans. It will keep that same thick piece at the bottom.
This sounds like magic, Lydia.
And then you can see along that edge, it's not perfect, but it's okay. As long as you keep pretty tight to that original line, it should be pretty straight. And you can see, and you can go ahead and iron it down here. It doesn't really matter. I didn't. Here are the pinking shears. And now you can go ahead and cut that extra piece that you folded over. And here, where that seam is, it gets pretty thick. So I split the pieces in half and then cut through the first one and then cut through the second one. And then you can go ahead and fold it over. And like I said, you can iron it here if you want to, or you can wash it. And then to prevent that fraying, again, you can use the pinking shears. If you don't have them, you can just use normal fabric scissors. And then you can go ahead and go around the edge of where you cut it with a whip stitch, and I will demonstrate that. And this just prevents fraying. It doesn't do much else besides that.
So that doesn't be super perfect then?
No, it doesn't. And it's on the inside. Nobody will see it. You're just coming up from the bottom, just repeating that around the whole cuff of the jean. I only did this on only one pant leg, so now, now one pant leg is shorter than the other. Maybe that'll be tonight's project, to finish the other side.
You could set a trend. You never know.
See, it's kind of messy. It's okay. You'll fold it inwards, so you don't have to worry about it. But there is your new hem. It looks like it would if you bought it from the store. No one would ever know. And you can do that with pretty much anything. Like I said, you can do it with a skirt or a dress. If you want to like shorten the sleeves on a t-shirt, you could use that. Oh, there, it's starting over.
Hey, Lydia.
Wait. Yes.
Can I see the inside where you cut again? Because I'm trying to do it.
Sure.
See what you did.
Oops. All right. Okay, here is me sewing it. All right, so after you have that cuff all sewn.
I got it hemmed.
Okay. And so this extra piece where it's folded in half, you will be cutting.
So I'll just go under that.
Yeah.
And then you just cut it along the edge.
I didn't cut something I shouldn't cut. Mom's helping me in case you want to. She's my coach.
Good.
So here's a question, Lydia.
Mhm.
You said you can do the same thing with a skirt or even a t-shirt. And this just makes me think about how little I've actually looked at any of my garments to know, like, do they all have that little like lip so that you just fold it, or what's?
Yeah, a lot of, if you look at like your t-shirt, just like a normal t-shirt, it usually has like a, I don't know how they fold it, but it's kind of like wrapped around so it doesn't fray at all. So you could use it in the same way for the jeans to like flip it up and then cut that extra piece off, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know how they make that industrialized hem like that, but if you want to preserve it to make it look so you didn't like just cut off your sleeves. If you want to do that, I would suggest this method.
That's amazing.
Oh, did you get it, Dad? Looks good. I can play the whip stitch if you need to look at that again.
And then on the inside, that's where she's showing you the whip stitch.
Is anybody else
Oh,
actively
this-
on a project that's on the call right now? I'd love to see it.
Let's see how that's. Press it.
mm.
Yeah, that's so funny. I really thought this was going to be the most complicated thing. And maybe there's not questions because it is so straightforward.
I looked at a few different ones, and some would like undo the original hem and then sew it back up and then do all these weird stitches and stuff. But I found this way, and I think it's the most straightforward and easiest and looks pretty professional. And you don't need a machine. You really don't need an iron unless you want to use that as a guide, but it's not necessary.
So if you do use an iron, once you've made the stitches and the cuts and then you wash your, is it gonna kind of, are you gonna have to iron it every time?
I don't think so. I would just iron it, maybe just to like lay it flat, but otherwise I don't think it would be necessary to iron every time. I think after a while it would just naturally fall into that place.
Gotcha.
But that is it. And like I said, you can go ahead and
Lydia, Mom
your
has a
jeans?
question.
yes. What's your
Could
question?
you, so that it wouldn't roll up, could you just tack it down like maybe where the heavy seams are? Could you just tack it? Then
Oh,
it
like
wouldn't-
on the inside?
Yeah,
Yeah, you probably could, just to keep that
so it wouldn't have a tendency to roll.
yeah, that extra piece from coming up. Yeah.
How do you tack it?
You just do a little stitch.
Oh, is this like a little
maybe.
stitch?
Attaching to, if you had like, I don't know if you can see this. Here's mine.
Mhm.
And then if you, are you saying like attach it to the inside almost?
Yeah, like where this heavy seam is, could you tack it down?
Yeah, you probably could do
And it
that.
wouldn't flip back up or anything.
Mhm. That is a smart idea.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Oh, you're muted. You're muted, Dad.
there it is. Yeah, because when I cut it, I didn't do a very good job cutting. And there's quite a bit of fabric on that inside there.
Mm-hmm.
But I suppose if I did enough of them, I probably wouldn't cut it and have so much fabric in there.
Yeah, and you could cut pretty close to that original like piece. Mine is probably like 1/4 of an inch
Yeah.
that I cut away from
Mine's
it.
probably like an inch.
Yeah. And then if you do cut it that long, once you do fold it, it might stick out from the bottom. So I would cut pretty close,
Sure.
leave that little piece.
Okay.
But yeah, any more questions?
Seems like people are just busily working on hemming.
Yeah, I can't wait to see.
So if that's the case, I just want to go back really quick, and we did do introductions to start. So I'm Jonna Corpy. I work for the Office of Sustainability at UMD, and I get to work with Lydia through this series, and she's doing an amazing job. And I hope you will plug yourself and your side project, and then let people know what is coming up next.
Yeah, so I am Lydia Hooker. I'm a senior at UMD. I'm studying environmental science and sustainability, and over the course of this semester, I'll be teaching, well, I guess I only have one more class left this semester, but I also work on little projects over at Stitches and Sprouts. I have a website. I can probably add it to the chat somehow. Also on Instagram, I post lots of my little crafts over there. Our next class is thrifting tips and tricks. I have not started working on that, so if anyone has any thing in particular they're looking for, let me know. If they want anything special for me to talk about, please leave it in the chat or shout out now. But yeah, and then we also have the little mending kits. Everyone who came tonight is a participant in the drawing.
Yeah. So I did get a random number generator while you were talking through one of the things, and our winner is going to be Isaac Johnson.
Oh.
So Isaac, if you will put your, let's see, I'm going to put my email in the chat, and then just email me your mailing address, and I will mail you out one of Lydia's amazing mending kits, which features her super cool ruler that you saw in the video, along with, which is super handy. I've never had one of those.
I haven't either. I bought myself some little tools, and they've been very handy. I probably use them once a day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, someone just joined. I think it's Tilly, my sister.
Oh. Tell her she'll have to go back and watch the videos.
I know. I guess I could send it to her.
About the kit, the person I live with won it last time.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to give it to another person.
Well, Lydia, maybe you can look at the participant list, because I know Mackenzie won and Paul won. And so I don't know who else is on the list, but I know you know the folks on here.
I know Pam, she had to leave. She was here.
I think Tilly wants it.
I can't just choose.
I think Johnny wants it.
I don't know. How should I do it?
Well, really, those are the only two. Well, and then Emily is on here too.
Oh yeah, Emily.
So Emily, Jonathan, and Tilly are the only ones that haven't won one. And I don't think your dad needs one, because it sounds like
they have lots of tools.
No, mom has all the supplies here already.
So out of those three.
Yeah.
Do you want me to choose?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were doing a generator. Okay, out of Emily, Tilly, and John.
Yep.
Oh man.
Just pick a number and I'll tell you who it is.
Okay, I'll pick 2.
Then it is John.
I don't think he should get that, but okay.
You can hear him cheering from the other room.
Now
Maybe
Johnny
I'll have some
has
clothes.
opinions.
Awesome.
But these slides are on my website right now, so you can go back and look at them. And then this was also recorded, so you can play back the video once we get that all set up. But yeah, thanks for coming, guys. The next class is on March 30th. It's a Tuesday at 6 p.m. same time, and that's the last class of the semester.
Thank
Awesome.
you, Lids. Good job.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lydia.
Thank
you,
I hope you guys learned something.
Hi,
Hope you
Tilly.
hem your pants.
All
Hi,
right. Good night,
Emily.
everyone.